Oh, hey folks, this is Brian with a campaign diary on Elderath Session 8. This is my fifth take today because something has been happening all morning, and I tried doing a pause, restart, but instead of hitting the restart, hit the stop or something, but I lost the last 9 minutes of my life 5 times. So anyway, Elderath Session 8. It's Tall, the 9th day of week 3 of Zar, which is the 5th month. Tindo approaches the camp. Tindo, the player of Tindo, was a player in the group prior to us transitioning to the fantasy setting when we were in the science fiction setting. But he had work issues and stuff that are happening, but he's got all that straightened out where he can start playing again. So he rolled up his transition character and has joined us in our excursions to the Moat House. Okay, the next morning, we start planning for our activities and exploration. We've got a mule with work tools, pickaxes, shovels, hammers, axes, that kind of thing. Head down to the Moat House itself, and we're going to go inside, double check everything, make sure it's all still cleared out, and then this is going to be our safe haven where we can keep the mule and we can camp at night and that kind of thing. So we tie the rope off to each other because last time I fell in and I start going out and I slip and fall, so they have to pull me up. Okay, we got to do something different this time, guys. So Raymond goes and gets a tree. So we bring this tree over. And at first he's talking about walking across on the tree, but you have to have a pretty wide tree to be able to safely walk across. Plus this is a swamp, so it's probably smooth skin, wet kind of wood, so that's maybe not a good idea, but it should have branches. So we're using branches to hold on to as we cross them. So we all get across, except we leave the mule tied up onto the tree while we investigate the Moat House. So we go through everything we know about. Nothing's changed, nothing's there. As we're coming back, we hear a splash. So we run. Raymond gets there first. He crosses the bridge. I actually crossed the bridge safely. And he looks down to the moat, and he can see a wake in the water going upstream. So he's pointing at it. I run across the path to the road. I run up the road to the corner of the moat house where the moat itself is the narrowest, as from what you see on the front side. And I start walking out through the swamp carefully to the edge of the moat to look around, and I'm looking around, and Raymond's pointing and coming along the water line. And I see blood start to bubble up into the water. Okay, we lost all that. So we know now there's probably a cave in there with some kind of critter that's going to eat mules. So we start thinking, well, maybe if we dammed off further upstream, the water will run off and we can get down in there. But the balance of the water from their side is still going to maintain a certain level of water, just because water's that way. So anyway, no more tools. So we take what we have, and we go back into the moat house itself, go up all the towers and all the corners, looking up, because we're looking for some kind of superstructure, not the right word, extra large structure that the moat house has been built upon. Because there's at least 2, maybe 3 levels of construction that has been here in the swamp here at the moat house being the latest. So we're looking for flat areas or something where it looks like a tower from a previous structure is at the surface level or broken the surface level. And we find four areas of potential interest. One to the northwest, there's a dry patch. One to the northeast, similar to those, a much larger area and up above the water level. Higher, drier, grassy. To the southeast, across the road, is another area, and likewise southwest is another mountain. Now, you might think that this would be, obviously the 4 corner turrets of a castle, but they're not regularly spaced, they're irregularly spaced. You know, there's no right angles kind of thing going on. So we decide we're going to go to the closest one. That's to the southeast. It's also where the guy with the wagon stopped. So we head off to the grassy knoll. As we get there, it occurs to me that this is a regular rectangle shape, maybe even completely square. So we start searching around. Raymond finds some exposed stones in the water outside the mound. So we start pulling away roots and stuff. And we cover a section of a wall or a tower. So we're probably on top of a tower, which is what we were kind of expecting. So we start excavating carefully with what we have. We don't want to ruin our weapons and stuff. It starts to get dark, so we head back to the spider tower to spend the night. Next day, we go down to that storage area that the RQIII folks had, well, I guess RQIII folks had stored. Which reminds me, there's brandy down there still too. Anyway, so we get some, you know, swords and axes and halberds and stuff to use for tools. Go back to our excavation. About noontime, Tindo and I both come across this sort of space where there's wood chips. So we clear this area out, and there's a trap door. We open it up, and a scent of decay just wafts up. And then there's splashing sounds as pieces of stuff up here fall down. So we get a light out. We start lowering a rope down, and the water level in this tower is much lower than the surface water out here in the swamp. It's about 35 feet down to the water inside the tower. There's a door on the north and a door on the west. They're fairly close together, about 15 feet down. So we lower a rope all the way down to the bottom with a weight, and it's about, the water itself is about 2 feet deep. So we tie off Alexander, we lower him down. He opens these, both doors are barred on the inside. And he unbars the north door, and then water comes pouring out. Opens up into a walkway. We swing him over, he climbs in. Excuse me. Lots of mud, all kinds of gunk. There are 2 arrow slits, but they're all filled up, and the hallway itself ends about 40 feet up with a dirt embankment. So he goes to the west door, unbars it, opens that door, more water and refuse comes pouring out. All kinds of muck, the 2 arrow slits again, and ends in another dirt embankment, just like the other hall. But in this one, in the dirt, he finds a partially buried body. It's all skeletal to this point, but it does have a gold ring, so he takes that. We lower him down to the floor of the tower, and it's a stone floor. But there are all kinds of skeletal remains down here, well over 50 bodies. And checking them out, there's no indications of any physical trauma to the bones. And there are floor planks and beams, like from the upper story, that's below the bones. So all these bones were in that upper room at one point. No weapons, no armor. Obviously, these weren't any kind of warrior stuff. Also, remember the doors were barred from the inside. So we don't find anything really here. So we get out, we go over to the southwest mound, figuring it'd be a similar sort of situation. The trap door was on the northwest corner of the southeast tower, so the southwest tower should be the northeast corner. Yeah, northeast corner. So we start digging around there, and sure enough, there's the trap door. We open it up, look down, and there's the remains of a ladder, and the floor is about 10 to 12 feet down. There's a stench of rotting wood. So we lower out Alexander down because remains of a ladder, right? We'll be careful. When he gets to the floor, though, it just crashes away. Dust and debris fill the air. He starts to cough. He can't breathe. So we pull him up, and he can't breathe. He still can't breathe. The stuff is just clogged up his lungs. So Tindo does a heal disease on him. Tindo's another cleric. So we have 2 clerics in the party. It's handy. So we lower Raymond down. He goes to the east door, opens it up again. Water comes pouring out. He goes in to explore. There's the arrow slits on the outside, what we consider to be what would be the outside. But there's also on this one an arrow slit on the inside. Again, they're all filled with muck and stuff, but it's there. And we kind of notice that the direction to the east wall hallway and the other tower's west wall hallway, they don't line up. They're cantered. So we're all thinking that there's another tower out there somewhere. So we pull him up, and he's looking around. Is there something out there? And he couldn't find anything. It's getting dark, so we head back to Spire Tower and spend the night. The next morning, Rain goes up to the top of the tower. He's looking around that area where he thinks that tower should be, but he doesn't see anything. So we decide we're going to go to the larger mound, the one that's off to the northeast. And then we walk along the road. That is, go down the road till we figure about where we would be, and then we head into the swamp. Minimize the time we're actually in the swamp. Alexander kind of stops this room and going, I think this is about as far as we should go. I think we'll pass the mound if we go any further. So we start heading into the marsh, the swamp. And Alexander comes across what he thinks is a path, and as we move along, some kind of a game trail. It winds around a bit, but we're no longer encumbered with the wetlands, and we come to this knoll. Also, there's a strong smell of swamp gas out over here. In the northeast corner of this hill, or knoll, is a fallen tree with the remains of 2 canoes. For me, this is funny, metagaming kind of thing. I once played, we were doing a version of Advanced Dungeons & Dragons, so we had home rules for this stuff. We were playing in Bruce's world. The group I joined in on had already been here, and that was their canoes. And they had put canoes up in the tree because they didn't want the goblins to destroy the canoes. But the goblins threw rocks and stuff and busted them up. I remember the tree coming down, though. Maybe that was because time went by. Anyway, back to the story. So this knoll, again, is roughly rectangular in form, like the other ones we came across. As we search around, Toth finds a leather strap tied off to a wooden frame. As he pulls it up, it lifts up the sod of a covered trap door. Stone steps going down. So we pop it open. We get marching order. I'm covering the rear. Alexander's first, then Toth, then Raymond, then Dindo, then me. There are some tracks down here that go to a door on the west end of this. Again, we're in a little hallway, like inside a castle wall. There are two hallways, one to the west and another to the south. We go through the west door. Those 2 doors. That's right. I need to go back and check my live play. Oh, which reminds me, there's a live play link in the description. Because I don't think we ever went to that south door. Anyway, so we go through the west door. It's well maintained. And this is where we got the hallway. So much to all the other ones. It's headed west, northwest. And this floor has not seen recent use. All kinds of muck is coming through the arrow slits. Oh, that's right. So this is a dead end. Or is it? No, it's not. How is the sloping muck? Oh, that's right. And there's a breach in the south of the wall. That's right. This one we're going west-southwest. And as we go marching down there, 2 goblins pop out of that breach. And they attack Alexander. And then 2 more pop out behind them. One looks like a caster. He's got that red blue design, but it's painted on his helm. And he has a staff. We managed to kill all of them except for that witch doctor guy, who during the combat had cast slippery force, so a couple of us fell. He cast a mote of fire. A couple of guys got caught on fire. And then at that point, we had pretty much ganged up on him, so he cast fog, so we couldn't see, and he managed to escape. I actually backed up to the breach to make sure he couldn't go back into where he was going. And the breach went into another room. And so we just kind of wait till the fog dissipates and we start looking around. He's gone. But this room that I'm in has frescoes depicting the life of Sylvanus, who's the sky god, the father of the gods. There's only one door in this room, and it opens into what once was a study with the remains of a bed that's been used for a fire. Used for fire will be, there's also a stone ring there for a fireplace. There's one door here. It opens into a chapel. There's a vault, it's vaulted ceiling, right? There are large double doors on one end and an altar on the other. Across from us is another door. But this has been completely desecrated with this red eye cult. The single door across from us opens to a short hallway, and in this hallway are pegs, and hanging out of these pegs are these robes, these black robes with red eye on them. And these are human-sized robes, not goblin-sized. So we spike the far door, put on the robes, and check out the double doors. But before we do that, before we leave, there's some scratching behind the door, the vestibule where we had blocked, spiked. That's the word. We'd spiked. And the double doors. There's like all kinds of muck, and it's cold. And there are layers of muck. It appears to us that this probably opens right into the swamp. So we don't want to mess with that. So we go and we search around the altar. And Alexander finds a secret door leading to stairs. So we go down these stairs. Oh, and there's like no evidence of any traffic on these stairs. The brickwork changes. Initially, it's these small flagstones, but as we go down to a certain distance, it changes into actually tunneling into solid granite. And at that point, we go 10 more feet, and there's an archway carved into the side of the wall. And with the runes that are carved into the archway, that are just like the runes that we found in the tomb where the lieutenant, I forgot his name, had escaped. We end up passing 4 of these archways, and we come to a landing. After the landing, there's a 10-foot section of hallway going east, and there's a portcullis. On the other side of the portcullis is another archway with those runes, and then there's a 4-way intersection going north-south and east-west. The east passage goes about 30 feet and then caves in. We can't see north-south. So I do a sketch of this intersection and the runes that are on this ring, or the arch, in my notebook, and then we go back up. So we go back to the spiked door. We unspike the door, open it up, and all of our senses get assaulted by gore. The smell, the texture in the air, the vision. It's massive, messy room. There's torturing implements hanging on the walls. There's a fresh body on a table. There are 4 pillars in this room, and there is a ghoul and 2 zombies. And the ghoul kind of looks at us, asking what it should do or what it should not. And that's where we ended our session. Happy gaming.